solo this week just because Nick is on vacation, but I couldn't not be here this week just because, dude, I saw Obsession twice, and honestly, like for lack of a better term, I mean, I'm obsessed with this movie right now. Not in like a weird way. I haven't bought merch or anything. I mean, I would buy merch. I definitely want the One Wish Willow, but it's the only movie I've been thinking about, and I've watched I think 5 movies since I've seen it since, and it's such a it, it's a really great movie. And once again, hi, this is the was the podcast. As I mentioned before, Nick Irvin is usually my co-host every week, but as I mentioned before, he is on a well-deserved vacation. Hi, Nick. As I mentioned, it not a crazy week as Nick has mentioned. It's been very slowish, but I've got a couple of things to talk about. Obviously, I'm going to talk about Obsession. I'm going to get into spoilers. I'm sorry. I know it's just out, but we also don't have a ton of people. We had a lot of people download last week, which was really cool. Um, a lot more US this time around. Not to discriminate against the other people from other countries who are also downloading at least this. It's thank you. Everything is appreciated, and but the Boys season series finale came out today. I'm also going to get into that as well. Once again, spoilers. I apologize, but um, at this point, we've been talking about week to week as it's come out. Uh, Technically, by the time this comes out, it'll be the day after. So, luckily, there's that. I'm also going to talk about the Young Frankenstein series that's coming around. I know Nick would definitely want to talk about this. I know we've brought it up multiple times. I believe even last week we even just like maybe 2 weeks ago we talked about Mel Brooks movies and of course talked about Young Frankenstein. I wanted to talk about Wildwood, the new Leica movie that's coming out. I wanted to talk about Lanterns, but I don't know anything about it. Obviously, I didn't watch the trailer. I was going to ask Nick about it, but I do have a question about it, so I'll bring that up. The season finale of SNL was this past week with Will Ferrell. We can talk about that. Matt Damon joined a new project and, well, is in talks to join a new project, and I want to bring that up. We got a couple things else, and I guess I'll get into it. So let's get into Obsession. I I saw this, I believe, on Thursday of last week, and man, it was one of my more anticipated movies this year, just because I've just been hearing great things about it. Obviously, as I, it's been stated a billion times. I'm sure you're tired of hearing me say it. I don't watch trailers, especially for horror movies. They show you too much. I believe the director Curry Baker, who I'll get into, uh, wanted to explicitly keep the marketing a little more vague. But obviously, I've watched some of the trailers since, and this definitely shows way too much. But I'll get into it. Uh, Dude, that first showing I watched, like immediately, I feel like I had the consensus of everybody. Andy Navarrete, holy shit! It's just one of the all-time performances, and it's hard to say that because it's she has so little credits, but it's just literally scene after scene. She's incredible as this, as I mentioned, spoilers, as this kind of shell, like this other entity that has taken the form of Nikki and has all the memories and everything to work for her disposal, and is incredibly manipulative and tries new tactics and figures out shame really works. I've got no hate towards because we can talk about the real villain of the movie, and that's obviously Bear, uh, which and you can. And I've been watching a lot of interviews, especially with Michael Johnson and Navarrete and Curry Baker, and about the movie, and he's he's very adamant about talking about how he really wanted Bear to be kind of like the everyman. He kind of wanted him to be like sympathetic. Like you see yourself in him, and like he's not like a bad guy, but like whenever he makes that wish, he never expects it to work. He like it's just something that he says. He has zero intention of it, zero belief that it works. But the problem with Bear is once it has worked, and even after multiple clues and multiple reasons why it's awful, all he thinks about is how do I alter it? How do I make her like Nikki? And the entity itself is just screaming out that it can't be Nikki. It can't. Um, because Nikki wouldn't like him that way. Uh, I've also really, really loved, especially what Curry Baker uh, mentioned in an interview, and I'd written it, I believe, in my review the day before after seeing it for a second time, and talking about how Bear had every chance, and he could have gotten the answer that he was looking for, and even at that moment, even if early in the movie when she asks him, "Do you like me, Bear?" Because now would be the time to tell me. She gives him the shot, and that's probably one of the most important lines of the movie, scenes of the movie, is just she gives him the chance, and he chickens out, and basically the conclusion is he punishes her. I love the scene in the car with Curry Baker on the phone as the helpline. It's so great because it's like he didn't expect. Maybe not that. It's he didn't. He put this thing out just because it works. It says what it's going to do, but it's more of a nuisance than anything for him. Um, but it is something that he has, that he produces, and he also has access to what it's capable of. Because whenever he asks him, "Do you want to hear her?" and all you hear is her agony, um, and Bear can't take it. I I've been glowing about this movie for like going on 6 days now, and it's I might go see it again. It's such a special performance. I feel like I'm talking in like talking points, but Andy Navarrette's performance throughout the movie, especially those moments where Nikki would break through, and the surprise on Nikki is just like it's one of the better horror performances that we've ever gotten, and I can't wait to see what she does more. I watched some interviews with her. She doesn't mind staying in the space of horror. She doesn't like horror. She does like horror video games, which is really interesting because I can't stand horror. I can't do horror video games. They creep me out. But I can watch horror movies like crazy. Um, but she can't. She's scared of everything. But she loves horror video games, which is interesting to know. She's also just a really weird, like not weird. She's very. She's a character on the press. She talks with like a almost a transatlantic accent, just because it's fun and why not? She's having fun. This is a moment for her. Hopefully, first of many. Because I think she's really talented. Michael, as I mentioned, Michael Johnston was really great in the movie. Um, because he just progressively gets worse, and he never once feels like he's like doesn't really feel like he's the villain of this story. He's just trying to figure out a way to make it work. Um, the two scenes in the shop are fantastic. How they both Curry Baker has also talked about how it's like the wish isn't cursed. It's the 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 act of the wish isn't the curse. It's the intention of the curse is the curse. And the two people who work at the shop, they have used their wish, and it's worked out for him. Curry Baker has said that he would probably wish for the $1 billion, and he'd just find a way to make it work. Uh, so even him, he's not thinking to like. And he's also talked about he hasn't thought of the backstory of this. He hasn't thought of like the lore of this. It's just this is the movie, and he's. They were asking about other movies, and he said I think it would work really well as like a 10 episode TV series where we just watch like an hour long of people's like wish gone wild. And I think that's really fun. Like he's only 26, which is incredibly inspiring, and a lot of the interviews that he's been doing recently have been truly an inspiring thing. Nick and I have been talking, and we want to write something and try and do something. I think we both have kind of like a bigger idea, but I think we really need to start small. At least I do, and it's something I've always been interested in. I just never knew what to do, but I just need to do it myself. Um, but yeah, so I've been really impressed with Curry Baker. I've been really impressed with him. I He already has another movie in the can that he just finished shooting, and it has Aaron Paul, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Violet McGraw. It also does star Curry Baker and Cooper Tomlinson. They're paranormal investigators, which I'm assuming it's going to be Curry Baker and Cooper Tomlinson, who is in Obsession. I and I believe Aaron Paul, Bryce Dallas Howard, and the Violet McGraw are probably going to be ghosts of some kind. And then he's also in charge of the new Texas Chainsaw, which he is taking very seriously. He's like, I'm watching everything. I'm going through as much as I can. I'm finding out what people want and what people love, and I'm not gonna like get rid of stuff that people love. And I've always loved like number two with like Chop Top. It's a Chop Top. I cannot think of his name. Oh, it is Chop Top. Bill Moseley. I knew it was Bill Moseley, but so he's taking it very seriously. Also, the movie itself was made for $750,000. It was bought by Focus Features for 15 million, and it made 16.1. And basically, I believe over since the time, it's beaten The Devil Wears Prada 2 and Michael at the box office, which is incredible. Um, it's what you love to see. Just small, really great horror movies this year, and this one might move to my favorite movie of the year over They Will Kill You and Project Hail Mary. Right now, it's up there. It's up there. Also, the scene that people talk about, especially at the party, it has such a visceral scene part of it to me that like was very very not triggering, but the closest thing to triggering. Um, it reminded me of the movie Talk to Me, whenever the the boy is possessed and he tries to kill himself. And he tries to like beat himself to like crazy, and that short little moment just reminded me so much of like the best part. It triggered me in a way that the that scene in Talk to Me did. It was very impressive. Uh, I loved at the end. I loved that final scene so much. But whenever she realized, like the Nikki character was trying to, original Nikki was trying to hook up Bear with Sarah, I believe, and even at the end, whenever she has taken her out with the brick and has laid her up naked in the chair, what Nikki has done is done the same tattoos as Sarah, which is even creepier. It's such a great little touch. Um, honestly, I'm gushing about this movie, and I apologize. Uh, I felt like the directing really stood out, and obviously, like the performances were great. The writing was great. Also, Curry Baker, he also edited the movie, but the directing was so specific. Like some of those longer shots, especially whenever like it's that scene in the restaurant where he goes and takes the phone call, and we just see her walk and just kind of stare, and then before he has a chance to come back, she sits down, and that scene only gets even better whenever he calls her out for her father having cancer thing and causes a scene because she knows it'll work. She knows it'll get him to stop. Uh, and then I love the cinematography of this movie with whenever they have her in the shadow. And not even just so much because of the quick like weird motions. I think it's just having her in the shadow where you can almost just see the eye shine, which is kind of a like it feels like inspired by the thing, but who knows? It's just like it's an artistic choice, but it's so specific. I loved it. I think I gave this movie a 5 star immediately. I I think it's kind of a perfect horror movie, especially for I would say probably for women because it's probably all the fears because it's your bodily autonomy basically being taken from you in a just in this case a very supernatural way, and it's such a like it's a creepy movie. You feel like it great performances, great writing, great directing, awful subject matter. It sucks. Um, Andy Richter's in the movie, though, so that's great. I think I've gone about 15 and a half minutes on Obsession. This episode is going to be called Obsessed with Obsession. I apologize. Um, I just want to bring this around. It was brought up that how Bear takes his life is with pills, which and this isn't my theory. This isn't my theory at all. Which is considered typically the more feminine way out is taking the pills, and that's how they instead of like gun and mouth and stuff, which he did chicken out also. But then the incredible bit, and I believe Curry Baker brought this up that it was Michael's idea that he would try to chicken out and try and purge, and of course we get that little crack, and Nikki hoping that Bear loves her, which ruins his chance to purge, and it's the end. And it sucks so much for Nikki because she's going to prison immediately. There's no chance she's not. Like, she's got life. Like, she'll never see the light of day. But at least, I mean, that scene whenever she wakes up in the middle of the night, both of them. But I'm talking about the one where Bear talks back to her, and it's the actual Nikki. It's just the most heartbreaking scene, and all he can think of is me. Would it be so bad to be with me? I've never been with you. Uh, and of course, yeah, the scene in the bedroom with her in the corner, phenomenal from Mindy Beneveretti. Holy shit! And obviously Michael Johnson, great too. But just the levels of emotion that girl did, it was so incredible. It's literally one of the best. Like I genuinely think it should be nominated for an Oscar. Who knows? But Jesus, incredible. Um, I'll move on. The Boys series finale. I watched it earlier today. Last week we didn't get into it. I apologize, Nick, if you are listening to it. Spoilers once again for this Boys series finale. Frenchie died at the end of the last episode. It was tragic. It sucked. But then, I believe at the beginning of this episode, we realized that his work has worked on Kimiko, and she has the same powers as Soldier Boy and is able to depower other soups, which is very important. It's what they've been trying to do since season 3. They just had to come back around to it. But it was only an hour long, which I felt like just felt like another episode of the show, and with the most stakes, just because it's the end. There is no more future currently. There is past, which I'm not going to get into right now, just because I don't know enough. I know we've met 2 actual actors who are going to be in the show, except for 3, because Stormfront technically, which I love that actor. I cannot think. I felt like we didn't lose a ton. We got definitely some returns with like Ryan came back. We got a very satisfying death of the Deep because of course it was going to be Starlight who initially did it. I mean, she took care of him whenever they got into the White House and took him to a beach for some reason. I guess just to give him a fair chance. Or just because it's like a level in a video game, which is fine. It's fun. It's a TV show about superheroes. None of it matters. It was a good show though. It was a great show. But I loved at the end, especially. I mean, I felt like we probably could have gotten a little bit more out of the Deep's death. Just saying. Only thing I'm actually a little disappointed in, just because I feel like we deserved a little bit more, like squeeze a little bit more out of the Deep for me. But loved him dying. Chase Crawford, fantastic actor. He killed that role. It was fantastic. I still, Colby Menifee came around. She helped him out. Still does not make up for all the other stuff that she did. She's still an awful person. But she did it. Sage got depowered. Dumb now. Sucks for her. I mean, but at least the voices are quiet. Which I guess she's been smart long enough. I mean, it sucks to be dumb, but maybe she'll be happy with it. Good luck to Sage. Also, terrible person too. So I mean, is she redeeming? I don't know. I think she might be on the same level as Colby Menifee for me as Ashley. Sorry, I have a hard time forgiving bad people. Valerie Curry was great. Daveed Diggs, of course, we all knew it was like Chekhov's gun. You introduce a ball gag in the first act, it's going to come around in the second act. Different for guns. It's usually first act, third act. Homelander's defeat, obviously, is great. We got Kimiko, who eventually did it with the help of Ryan and Butcher. Obviously, this all happens like the first half hour of the episode, maybe for 40 minutes. But it was just that beautiful scene with Kimiko whenever she sees Frenchie, and she explained she's having trouble doing it, and because she doesn't have that hate in her, and he just tells her it's not the hate, it's your love. And just such a beautiful scene. I mean, those two, Karen Fukuhara and Tomer Capone, had just such great chemistry. Over 5 seasons, it was incredible. I was very happy with the ending. People were going to be upset just because, I think people just have a harder time accepting things are over. And, people didn't like the last season of Stranger Things and stuff like that. Just, it's fine. Things are going to end. Just let them end. They're not that bad. Also, in the boys, I felt like they were going to do more with Marie Moreau, Jess and Claire. They brought back her. They brought back London Thor, who plays Jordan, and they brought back Lizzie Broadway for a scene. And I don't know why. Man. I loved. I was sad to see Butcher's uh, his dog and everything, but Terror. I felt like Terror lived a good life, um, and then obviously Huey had to take care of Butcher. Luckily, MM looks like he survived. Yeah, MM survived, which is good, which is opposed to the comics, as Nick mentioned a couple of weeks ago. Um, but yeah, that final scene with Huey and Butcher in Vought Tower in the Sevens boardroom was cathartic. I mean, it was great just because they like it was kind of a test for Huey, not like a welcome test, but it was definitely a test, and I felt like that's how Butcher wanted to go out. That's how he wanted Huey to humanely, maybe, uh, in a most Butcher way possible, take him out. And then I loved the prologue or epilogue um, with Huey and Annie pregnant, but she's still crime fighting, which is funny. And he gives up. And such a funny joke. He's got his own job, his own private company, and the guy's like private equity, and it's just an electronics store where he started off, and he's going to name his kid after the what got him into being involved in Annie's life. So yeah, I think I was very happy with it. I think other people are going to grow like come around to this ending because people are just being bitches right now. They just want to bitch. Like we're just born to bitch because bitching gets a little bit more talk. I think the series finale is fine. I think it was satisfying. I enjoyed it. I think if you just stop caring so much, like it doesn't have to mean everything. It could just be another part of your day. You can enjoy the hell out of it. You can buy merch for it. You can continue to rewatch. I'm going to rewatch this season. It's fine. It's great. If you didn't like this season specifically for some of the references, I have concerns about you because like they were concerning. Anyway, hit me up in the comments. I don't care. I was going to have Nick talk about lanterns. My big takeaway from lanterns, I believe James Gunn put out like a comment that just said, "Are you scared?" And I wanted to know what that meant. I wanted to know. I was hoping Nick would tell me. Um, SNL season finale with Will Ferrell and Paul McCartney. Very funny sketches. Paul, like that first song, didn't like sounded a little rough. And no offense to Paul McCartney, he's one of the greatest musicians of all time. It sounded a little. I'm gonna take this out. He's Paul McCartney sounded great, but a lot of the sketches were great. Once again, we got Mr. On Blast, which is great for a season finale. Get Mr. On Blast, that was fantastic. Which also led into the season premiere of Game Changer, where Jeremy Colhane was also on. But Ashley Padilla, fantastic on the episode. The sketch at the very end that was Sarah Sherman and the boyfriend coming home and meeting her boyfriend his girlfriend's parents for the first time, and they are seemingly normal, but the back half of them is that like meme of that guy wearing a suit with the with lingerie in the back. It was basically a sketch about that. So I mean, why not? Who cares? It's funny. I enjoyed it. Uh, I can't really think of anything specifically from SNL. If you had a favorite sketch, let me know. I cannot remember any of them right now. I've consumed so much media. Wildwood is the new Leica movie that's coming out. It looks fantastic from what I've seen. Cannot wait to see it. I believe it's a Fathom event for AMC people, so you will have to pay to see it. I'm gonna do it. I missed the Missing Link last time it was out in theater. It's not. It's my least favorite of the of Leica so far, which is not saying anything because Leica is overall fantastic. It's what they continue to like put out is just continues to get better and better. So I can't really say anything about that, but I do look forward to seeing Wildwood. Um, Matt Damon is also in talks to replace the role that Ryan Gosling stepped away from with the Daniels, who were the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Uh, it was said as creative differences and scheduling conflicts. I'm assuming it was just scheduling conflicts. Ryan's been busy. He's had a very busy the last couple of years with Barbie, what's it called? Hail Mary, and The Fall Guy. Uh, he's been busy. I imagine he would love to spend a little bit more time with his family. It's literally all he talks about. But it would be cool to see Matt Damon. There is a bit of an age difference between the characters. Ryan's 45, Matt's 55. Who gives a shit? Um, but it was brought up, so I'm bringing it up. I don't fucking know why. Um, but yeah, it's a Daniels movie. I'll probably see it. I mean, I like the Daniels. If you haven't seen Swiss Army Man, it's a farting corpse movie, but it's a lot more than that. Paul Dano's fantastic, and Daniel Radcliffe is fantastic. I cannot remember who Mary Elizabeth Winstead. But a lot of really beautiful like musical scenes and like musical moments in Swiss Army Man. I highly suggest it, regardless of it being a farting corpse movie. It you get used to it. It becomes more like a Swiss Army knife, but just in a form of a corpse that looks like Daniel Radcliffe. Can I sell you anymore? Quinta Brunson is going to be playing Betty Boop. Which cool. I'm into it. But it's going to follow the origin and evolution through the character through the creator's eyes. So I don't really know what that means. I've got no issue with Quinta Brunson playing Betty Boop. Betty Boop actually holds a special place in my heart because my grandmother was upset. Like if people collect things, like I collect movies and stuff like that. If my grandmother collected anything, and she's like my favorite grandparent I ever had of the three that I remember, um, she was obsessed with Betty Boop. It was her favorite character. She had an entire memory box full of Betty Boop. So I love Betty Boop. With Quinta Brunson playing the character, I'm into it. Don't know from the description. I have no idea what this project is. I probably could have read an article, but I only read a headline, so that's kind of the problem nowadays. But I did read that little log line, so I mean, I made a second effort. I just didn't make the full effort, whole ass everything. Um, Nick would want me to tell you Transformers, the original animated movie, is coming out in theaters for its 40th anniversary. I'm done. Okay. Uh, yeah. I'm gonna say Nick. He he's down at Disney and sent me pictures of the Avatar world, and I can't Pandora. I can't remember what the actual like rides and stuff is down there. Which I obviously I ride hard for Avatar. I not for the story, but they are just perfect movies, and I'll always say that. Um, he told me he's probably gonna have to revisit the movies and also watch Fire and Ash for the first time, and I was just like, Nick, you're right. You should revisit those movies because they are perfect for what they are. But they're best on a giant screen. I barely watch them at home because it's never going to rival the screen at a movie theater. Which, if they ever do come out, which I do had when before Fire and Ash came out, at least Way of Water came out back in theater, and I went and saw that I think 2 times before seeing Fire and Ash. I think 3 or 4 times. I had to walk out once. They had it sped up at like 0.105, and I knew it. It was wrong. I could see it. I know how that. I'd already seen it twice. I know how. I knew it was wrong. I knew. I'm weird by myself. This is why I don't do this by myself. So I can't read my own handwriting. I was going to talk about the Young Frankenstein FX TV show that's coming. Carrie O, like, this is the best case scenario. Because, obviously, bad idea. Best case scenario, though. Carrie O was Zach Galifianakis, Kumail Nanjiani. I'm not familiar with either other people, but Dolly Wells, Spencer House, and Nikki Crawford. I think no. But Taika Waititi is directing the pilot. I don't know how I feel about it, but you know what? FX did a great job with What We Do in the Shadows. Nick will attest. He is obsessed with that show. Yeah. I'm hearing good things about He-Man, which is weird. I'm going to go see it. It's like out the same week as my birthday. But out this week, don't care, is The Mandalorian and Grogu. I love Pedro Pascal. I'm just not a Star Wars person. Nick loves Star Wars. I'm sure he'll see it. There's a movie called Passenger that's coming out, which the trailer, which a little bit of it I saw, looks very interesting. I'll probably try and see that. But the movie that I'm definitely seeing this weekend is I Love Boosters, the new Boots Riley movie with Keke Palmer. Totally into it. I've had to avoid every single trailer for that. There's a lot of marketing for that, and thank God. Hopefully people are seeing it. But I am not watching that trailer. I'm not watching anything from it. I can't wait to see that this weekend. That's what I'm doing this weekend. You can find Nick at Supermans_Papa. You can find him on Letterboxd at nirvin23, and you can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at AndrewLZ and AndrewLZ.com. You can find the show at Was the Podcast at on YouTube. Last week's episode was not able to be uploaded. I apologize if anybody's watching that. I apologize. I don't think there's a single view. It's fine. But I will try to get this week's up. You can email the show at wasthisapodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, if you could just like, share, and subscribe to the show, anything and everything helps. Leave a review. Tell us where you're from. Tell us like how you found us. I am perplexed. Word of the day calendar. Okay, bye.